So I have one more question, and then we're going to open up some more. Today, for the people in this audience that have a small company or an enterprise, what's the one piece of advice you could get if they want to go into your world mobile applications of some kind, mobile web, mobile whatever, that we can walk out of here today and try to do? Just one thing to move us one step further into your world and to experiment with something that would give us a new dimension in what we're doing. What would that be?
One of our tag words in the firm is have a global presence but act locally. In business planning today, you want to do achievable things that actually have impact today with the group that you deal with your potential customers, potential investors. So you never want to lose the granularity, but at the same time you've got to think big, think globally, think unlimited reach. Because no business plan today makes sense if you're thinking about a lemonade stand in your neighborhood on a cul-de-sac that nobody drives by. There's no reason to limit yourself in that way anymore. And that actual global...
Say, could you guys in the back quit talking? Thank you.
The actual ability to touch anyone, anywhere, is very powerful in a business plan.
I'd say, my one piece of advice would be to just pick one thing to try to live the medium. If you are not on LinkedIn, get on LinkedIn, be a part of the LinkedIn groups here, and open up LinkedIn on your mobile device. If you are not on Twitter, open a Twitter account, follow the folks you admire. It is becoming so much a standard practice. In the session I was at yesterday, we had about 500 people in the audience, and my phone sort of blew up. It was sitting in my bag on the side because so many people, and I don't even think to do this, were searching me and my Twitter handle, and were commenting, which is a little disconcerting, on my speech real time via Twitter. There's a whole other parallel path to conversations that are happening, not just personally, not just socially, but on a business front. So pick one of these tools that you haven't used. And I have to admit I'm guilty of this as well. I'm more of the sort of Twitter people and Facebook people, and more of a Twitter guy than a Facebook guy, because frankly I don't think my life is that interesting personally, that it's like I'm home again and tired and I'm watching, reruns. That's just not that, you don't need to know that. But I, pushed myself to get into Facebook to see how Coca-Cola and other businesses that I admire are carrying themselves. So pick one thing that you haven't done before, log in, get active with it, and get active with it on your mobile device. And if you do that for a couple of weeks, it's habit forming. It's like getting on a good diet. The first couple of weeks seems a little weird, and then after you're so thankful you did it, and it's just part of your life. I haven't gotten to that part of the dieting, but I have heard others who have. So I would say just pick one thing that maybe you're a little bit scared of, that you haven't done, that maybe your kids are doing. I'd advise you, if your kids are doing it and you're jumping into it, don't let them know immediately. It sort of freaks them out. But do take advantage of a new medium you haven't tried, and try it on your mobile. Maybe it's TripIt, which has been a fantastic tool for a lot of my friends. Maybe it's LinkedIn, maybe it's Twitter, maybe it's simply watching Netflix on your mobile device. If you have Netflix at home, take your iPad with you, take your phone with you, and watch it on a plane where there's Wi-Fi. I mean, take these experiences and really jump into them, because you're not going to have a firm grasp of what you'd like to do for your business unless you watch what other businesses are doing, and unless you enjoy it yourself, or at least understand what it's about.
Steve?
I think that last point's a good one. Businesses tend to follow consumers, so what's happening out there in the world, we as business people then say, well gosh, if this is what the current activity is, how can we take our business idea and distribute it through what's already happening? So without really understanding and having an appreciation for how this whole thing is evolving, and it's evolving very fast and in a very interesting way. The business strategies will become apparent once you understand what's going on. So you've got to inject your business with these strategies. The question is, which ones will be most effective? You'll learn that by being a part of it yourself.
One other thing is, this goes back a couple of years, but do you remember when I don't know if it was Pets.com, it was one of the pet places that have the shops and all the strip centers, went public, and you have this period that we're all familiar with, quiet period, and I was just blown away watching TV in the middle of their capital raise, seeing commercial after commercial after commercial with these guys, and I'm like, I didn't think you could do that. How did they pull that one off? So I called and I tried to do a little research on it, and what they said was they had put together the year before a 2-year plan for ordinary course and scope of your business to lay out a strategy so that when it went through the SEC, it was just the same thing they did last year, and so the commercials were running like crazy when they were doing the cap. They didn't mention the offering, but I'm just saying, you know, maybe there's some potential with the mobile applications and the other, from a capital raising perspective, about trying to lay a plan out ahead of time on your capital raising and expansion and exposure with that kind of strategy. And I don't know if you had any comments or thoughts about that. You know, trying to be able to continue your exposure and growth during a period.
Well, it's having a role. I mean, as I said, this is a parallel conversation. It's almost another dimension to conversation that's occurring, and there are some analyses of Twitter and Facebook activity and how it's impacting directly on business reputation and potentially on stock. There was one funny story. Who was the co-host of who were the co-hosts of the Oscars this year? Does anybody remember? There was sort of a passing glance from me.
Anne Hathaway and
oh, that's what it was. It was Anne Hathaway. There was a wonderful story on NPR that Hathaway was seeing a lot more activity, the company, because Anne Hathaway was being mentioned in Twitter. And it's a great NPR story about exactly that. So these things are sort of having an influence and distilling their way from the sort of hopping dimensions from the social dimension into the business dimension.
So we have time for one more question, if anybody has one, and then we're going to wrap it up. Does anybody have the golden question that they want to ask? If not, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.